So a lot of business owners that I talk to are having trouble getting consistent leads in the door. And today I want to show you a strategy that my private client is using. It works like gangbusters. She's been running it for months and it just works. It's a little engine that just keeps on pumping in the leads. So I want to show you how that works. And that way you can take it on for yourself and you could do this all yourself if you wanted to. So what a lot of people do is they run cold traffic to a set of ads. Okay, cold traffic means we know nothing about these people and they know nothing about us. This is just random people that we're advertising to on a platform. And what most businesses do is they run ads like this, where they'll have maybe 4 ads or more, and they just run them and it's hit or miss, right? What happens when you run just this strategy is you end up with a ton of wasted ad spend, because in between each of these ads is a black hole. And what do I mean by that? I mean that people will see your ad and then they move on with their lives and then they don't really see an ad from you again. Or it might take a while. Or whatever the case is, they don't really see you over and over again. So what happens is these black holes occur and these people kind of get lost in the mix, right? So for every 100 people that you spent money on, maybe 20% see all 4 of your ads, if that, okay? And keep in mind, you're also fighting against an AI delivery system that is trying to show the right content to the right person at the right time. So what that means is, even though you have 4 ads, person A might only see ad number 2. Person B might see ad 3 and 4. Person C might see ad 4 and 1. And then person D might see all of the ads, right? So just because it might seem like a good fit for all these people, there's a good probability that not everybody's going to see each ad. The delivery system takes care of deciding based on signals who to show the ad to. So anyway, so what a lot of people do is they run these ad sets, they have all these black holes, and the traffic gets lost. So you end up bleeding a lot of that money out. So let's do a little demo here, right? So let's say somebody clicks your ad. So here's our ad. And then they go to your website. And maybe on the site, you have an opt-in for something. People got to give their email over, whatever, right? And then that goes to either a book a call funnel or a VSL, video sales letter, something like that, some kind of offer, okay? What happens is, again, you end up with these black holes in between things, right? Because if anybody's ever sent paid traffic before to a page, they know this firsthand, that you lose a ton of your traffic. You might lose like 80% of the people that hit the page. That could be because the page is slow to load. That could be because there's a misalignment between the ad and the page that people get to. It could be because people don't want to give over their email address right off the bat. They don't even know you yet, and you're asking for something. And they know in the back of their mind that you're just going to try to market to them. So a lot of people just don't bother. And again, you lose a huge percentage of people to these black holes, right? And then once they opt in, just because they opted in, maybe they just wanted your free giveaway, whatever it is. Again, you lose more people in that funnel because not everybody's going to make it to the end, right? So if you send in 1,000 people, by the time you get to the actual video sales letter over here, you might only have like 5 people that see it. And then who knows how many people actually buy the thing, right? So you're spending all this money. It's just a very inefficient way to do this. What I recommend is you build out an ecosystem. So how does this work? It augments the funnel strategy. It's basically like putting a car around the engine and building out the engine so that it actually functions, right? So instead of just running cold traffic into your ads, what works really well is you actually run cold traffic to special ads up here. So the idea is we use ads as bait. They are engineered to act as bait, and those capture the cold traffic. I'm just going to call it CT for short, cold traffic, okay? Then what we do is we have another lead method where we're doing some kind of either their offer ads or they're like a DM ad, right? So we're kind of trying to get people to DM us. And this is also going to cold traffic, right? So we've got cold traffic coming in. Now what we're doing is we're sending people to our ads, okay? So now we've got pre-qualified people coming in. We're able to get these views at an incredibly low rate because we're not bidding in the same sphere as everybody else. I'll go into that in a second. But what we're doing is we're able to pre-qualify people. We're able to do it for a very low amount of money. We're able to get a lot of people in the door this way. And then what we're doing is we're actually using these ads as a sales process, right? So for instance, somebody who just met you, let's say you do financial services, they're not ready to buy. Maybe you sell burial insurance. Maybe you sell financial services, lawyers. You could even be a dental practice. It really doesn't matter. But when people first interact with you, Google states that they did a study that shows that people need to consume about 7 hours of content on 11 touch points on 4 platforms. So people are taking a longer route to making a buying decision. That takes a longer time. So how do we get 7 hours, 11 touch points, 4 platforms? Well, we start using our content in a really smart way by building out this conveyor belt. So I want you to think of ads 1 through 4 here as a conveyor belt, okay? So you've got all these people that watched your content that are somewhat interested. Maybe they watched to the end. You got their attention. Now you've got all these people. Well, what happens is as they're watching more and more of your content, they're moving down the funnel, okay? We're using this as like artificial gravity to pull them into your offer. So they'll consume ad number 1, ad number 3, ad 4, whatever. The idea here is that we have so many pieces of content over time that as long as they're still watching the stuff, they're going to continue to get your ads, right? Which is showing that they're interested in what you have to offer. And then eventually, they will be ready to buy. And the beautiful thing about being ready to buy is once you get that person all the way to where they're actually ready to make a purchase with you, the kicker is that you've got so many people on your conveyor belt that you have a bunch of people ready to buy. Okay? So this is how we build out our system where we're pre-qualifying people. We're able to do it outside of the regular bidding system, which I will show you right now. And we're able to plug the gaps in the funnel, right? Those black holes I was talking about, because they're on a conveyor belt, which means that they're going to see the content over and over and over again, different ads, right? We're going to create content that talks to the different types of people that want to buy your stuff, right? We're going to talk to the people that want actionable items, right? So if you're selling burial insurance, the actionable item might be to come in and talk to you. We're going to go after the anthropological, right? What's the human nature for somebody to make a purchase with you or to at least talk to you further? We're going to look at the analytical side of things. What is it that the data shows that backs up what it is that you have to offer? And we're able to do this with the aspirational stuff, right? The testimonials, the proof, the reviews, all the outcomes that people are having that are successful. We're able to show all of that on this conveyor belt, and we're able to move people along. So regarding the bidding system, this is a big one. Okay, this is how we get cheaper views and I talk about this all the time. I'm going to go to red so it stands out a little better. Let's say this pie chart are the daily users of Instagram. Okay, so if you were to Google how many people use it a day in the US, I believe it's either 140 million or 200 million users, okay? That means that people are using it at least once a day. Only 2 to 3% at any given point in time are ready to make a purchase right now today, okay? That leaves 97 to 98% not ready to buy today. Now, does that mean that they're unqualified? Does that mean that we don't want to advertise to them? No. Of course you want to advertise them because maybe they're not ready right now, but they will be tomorrow or next week or next month. The idea is that we are advertising to people to build your brand's awareness. It takes time. That's why you see a lot of car commercials, people selling Lexuses and stuff, right? They know you're not going to buy a Lexus today, but when the time comes that you need a car, if you've seen a lot of their ads, if you've seen enough of their ads, you might check them out. You might go into a dealership and see what's going on with their car situation, right? That's how this stuff works. You could be doing this as a doctor's office where you, let's say you do dental, right? And you do plastic surgery or, that kind of work. You can start advertising that. We used to have a guy, Dr. Zismore. He was always on the subway. His banner was everywhere. And that was because if you had acne, if you had any kind of skin treatments that you needed done, he was your guy. He was the number one guy at the time because he was everywhere. So that's how this works. What most people do is they bid, unbeknownst to them, they're bidding on the 2 to 3% because they're trying to get the sale today. The problem with this is, again, based on the Google study, 7 hours of content, 11 touch points, 4 different platforms before they make a move. If you're just bidding on the 2 to 3%, you're not going to get those 7 hours. You're not going to get the 11 touch points. You're not going to get the 4 different platforms. Also, you're bidding on the same audience as everybody else. So if you run a type of business where you have direct competitors, you guys are fighting over the same audience, and that's going to drive the bid price way up. A bad example is if you run a clothing shop and you do, hats or whatever. If you're fighting against Macy's, they're going to outbid you every single time because, again, they're not worried about what they're spending today. They're looking long term, how much is the advertising revenue bringing in the door, right? So you can't compete with them. This is a really good way to compete with them by doing this, right? So instead of bidding on the 2 to 3%, we bid on the 97 to 98%. We're able to get really cheap, inexpensive views. We're able to get those 7 hours, those 11 touch points, those 4 different platforms just by going with this strategy. And this is what my private client is doing with her ads is we are running this 24 hours, 365, and this little engine just keeps bringing in fresh people and it keeps showing the content over and over and over again. And either they come in the store or they buy online or whatever it is, this thing just keeps on delivering. And the beautiful thing about it is once you build it, you can more or less let it run and do its thing. Now, you do have to post, you do have to keep things current. Of course, there is work involved. There's no work involved. You can see this is a little bit of a build once you get the infrastructure in place, that's really where things start to shine. So I hope you guys found this helpful. Drop a comment, drop a like, let me know what you think. Talk soon.